Gut siehst.
Joining us today on the How Good's This podcast is Jacob Hollister of the Seattle Seahawks. Thank you so much for being here, bud. How are you?
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm good, man. I'm out in Bend, Oregon right now, so I'm just hanging out the last couple of days. Beautiful.
Beautiful Bend, Oregon, man. I can't imagine how incredibly rigorous a professional football season is for a human being. I get on the Peloton for like 15 minutes and I'm like, yo, this ain't for me. So the few days after the season ends, obviously we didn't make it to the Super Bowl this year, but is there a moment of like you get to breathe for a second, or is it just like, no, I got to think about the next season right away? Because how's that transition?
Yeah, that's what's wild is because I think the second that you lose, it's like the next day you're the most motivated that you've been. At least for me, like I'm the most motivated that next day because I'm so angry that we lost and I just want to start getting ready for the next season. But you really have to force yourself, especially this being, I'm going into my 5th year. It's like you have to force yourself knowing what's best for your body and your mind. Like, okay, I have to relax right now or else this could be bad. Like I could just push it for the next couple months and take no break, and that's not going to be what's best for me. So yeah, it's a tough combination of it's almost like the time where you don't want to slow down the most, but you have to. Yeah,
wow, that's hard. And how do you regulate that? Do you personally do it, or do you have like a team of people from the Hawks or whichever team you happen to be playing for that's like, hey, Jacob, I saw you tweet last night at 3 a.m., bro. What are you doing up that late?
Turn it off, brother. No, it's my trainer back here does a great job. He's the one that kind of always has to convince me to not push it all the time. And so Kevin Boss out here is great. He has a performance facility out here, and so he's just been awesome for me, and just he's been my trainer the last 4 years, and having somebody who really understands your body is awesome because there's times when you're not happy with what your body's telling you, and then they have to tell you, okay, this is what you need to do right now, and so we've had a good relationship where he knows what I need, and it's always worked out for the best. So
I would imagine that when you were young, when you were in high school, the majority of your athleticism probably just came naturally. When, not that you didn't have to work, but I would imagine like there was quite a bit of natural talent there. When did you start thinking about your body as like this vessel, this mechanism that could carry you through? Was it early in your athletic career, or was it like college? When was that time where it really clicked?
I think when I was down in like 3 Little Caesars a week in college, I was like, okay, it's time to switch it up. And so at that point,
you were doing that in college,
dude. The $5, bro. The $5 hot five.
Dude, you cannot beat it. So,
no.
I mean, now really, I always put a lot into my body. Me and my brother both, we always spent a ton of time training and all that. So we always took care of our bodies in that way. But when it came to really, thinking of my body as, a vessel and taking care of it like it's a machine, I think that started more like my first rookie year in the league, because in college it's just you don't have a lot of money, especially when I was in junior college, and there's like I said, there's that Little Caesars across the street, and so whenever we'd get $5 together, it's like you just go across there and you're just feasting for a half hour. But you know what I mean?
I would sorry to interrupt you. Go.
No, you're good.
I was just.
But yeah, so that's when I really made the switch. Was like my rookie year.
Yeah, awesome. And your rookie year, you played at the Patriots, correct?
I did, yeah. Me and my brother both were there together.
Wow. What position does your brother play again? Remind me.
So he's receiver. He's with the Titans.
That's great. And
which is awesome.
Are the Titans still playing right now, or are they out as well?
They lost last week, yeah.
Bugger. And is he in Bend on the off season usually?
Not right now. So I'm actually headed out to Nashville tomorrow to see him.
All right.
And I'm looking at a house there right now. So he just bought a house there. I'm looking at a house, and we're kind of thinking about making that home right now. So we'll be back and forth for sure.
Awesome, man. Nashville's such a cool town.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm excited about that.
I was thinking as you were dropping the $5 hot and readies, who could eat them quicker? Who could slam down a hot and ready?
Bro, I just drank
out of us
Guinnesses.
Out of us three,
How many
my
Guinnesses
money's
you
on
get?
Jules.
I did. We had two. Alan just like had two Guinnesses on
Yeah.
at this table the other day, and he bet me five. Or no, he didn't bet me any money, but he said he gave me 5 minutes to get two Guinnesses down. They're like tall boys. I was
What?
like, dude, bro, fuck you, man. I'm getting this down in 1 minute or under.
Yeah, yeah.
I did it in 42
Yeah.
seconds.
42 seconds, he gulfed
Nice.
down both of those.
It was
Did
awful.
you pour them in a glass, or
No,
did you
just
just go
straight chug,
straight
just
from,
straight
okay,
chug, dude.
That's
Just
even
straight
more
chug.
impressive.
I tried to get in that mind over matter mentality that I imagine you
Yeah, man.
probably got into many times in your life. And
That's what I'm talking about, man.
gotta
You,
be-
channeled it there.
I tried my best, man. I tried my best.
Yeah,
It's
impressive.
well, what's also impressive is that like you said you were eating like hot and ready's when you were in college, and you were kind of just like
Yeah.
you didn't really know that you were gonna like. I'm curious. Did you know your whole life that you were gonna be a professional football player? Like, was it? I have a friend who plays professional baseball, and it was like certain growing up that like that was his trajectory. It was never going to be anything other than that. Was that kind of a similar thing for you? Did you have like a family that was really like football oriented? But you also, I learned a little bit about you that you play other sports as well. So like,
I did, yeah.
were you headed in like that direction to play professional athletics, regardless of what was going to happen in your life?
Yeah, I was really, I remember getting my first Brett Favre jersey when I was, I don't even know how old, like 6 years old or something. And my dad handed it to me. And from that point on, I remember thinking I want to play in the NFL. Like, that's what I want to do for my job. And, I get asked that question a lot, me and my brother, of did you always know you were going to make it? Or did you just have that much confidence? And I think for me, it was always something where I never, best way to explain it is I never thought I couldn't do it. It's not like I knew I was going to do it, or like I had that arrogance. Like, I don't think I had any of that. It was just the fact that I knew I wasn't going to quit. Like, I knew that for sure. And so whatever circumstance it was, when it came to, walking on at Nevada to start with my brother as a quarterback, and piling up some debt there, and being like, we can't afford this anymore. We transferred to Arizona Western Junior College, and in the middle of nowhere in Yuma, Arizona, to finally getting some scholarship offers and leaving there. But it was always, taking it step by step, knowing this is going to be a really long journey to get there, but never trying to look too far ahead, and just being like, okay, this is like, I'm in a valley right now. Like, this is really tough. But I'm just going to keep pushing, and I don't think that I can't do it. And so I think that's been the biggest part for me and my brother.
Even when the chips were probably stacked pretty hard against you, and you were like not in a position of like, well, I'm like, I assume that when you're transitioning into the NFL from college or from high school or from wherever you're coming from, you get to a place where, and I'm kind of projecting my friend's experience because that's all I really know, but it was like, baseball for him was like t-ball growing up in like high school, like growing up playing like before he got to the pros. And the second he got to the pros, it was like, oh shit, now I'm playing with the best players in the world. Did you have one of those kind of revelations for yourself when you got there, where you were like, oh man, like, and how did you kind of keep your mind in check about that, like for your ego and for your like, well, I can still be a player here, like I still need to prove it. How do you you go through that with yourself and continue to move?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I've learned in this sport and in general is just, no matter what other people can do, just being confident in what you can do. And so not being so focused on how good because D linemen in the league that I have to block, those guys are just absolute freaks. Like, they're huge. I can't even reach them. Like, they're reaching me, I can't even reach them. But knowing that there's going to be guys who are really talented, and not so much focusing on that, but just focus on, okay, I do this really well. Like, I do these things really well. Let me focus on those things. And just having confidence in what you can do, because there's going to be people along the way who just waver. You're an amazing player. You're the worst player that's ever lived, throughout your career, depending on the game. And so just being confident in the fact, like, I'm really good at my job. I feel confident in what I do, and these are the things that I'm good at. And then, holding strong to those.
How, Jacob, this always happened to me growing up with my father, because my household has been diehard Seahawks fans since I was a baby. My pops was My pops was a Seahawks fan during the Largent days, and we've just been like true and true green and blue, baby. But my dad watching football would always like armchair coach. And there's like everybody in the world thinks that they could get on the field and do things better. Do you hear that chatter as like being on the team, or are you able just to like actually block it out and be like, listen, there's no way you'd survive a down on this field. You don't know what you're talking about, or does it kind of like, does it get through the ear holes in the helmet a little bit?
I think early in my career it did a little bit. And then I learned first of all, never search your name on Twitter because it's just not going to be good.
I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, like your rookie year, you're new to it and you don't know what you don't know. And I feel like it's just something you have to learn. And I wouldn't say you get numb to it, but in a way you do, where, you learn that there's going to be noise no matter what, whether it's good or bad. And for me personally, I don't even read, like, if there's an article about me, whether it's good or bad, I won't read it. Like, I won't, even if somebody calls me and does an article about me and like just praising me, I won't read a word of it, because whether it's a great article and it gets me too high, or it's a really bad article and it gets me too low, it's like I want to just be a guy who's just even keel all the time. And so that's something that I've learned through the years is, there's going to be noise all the time. And so just letting that be what it is. And even, you go to parties and stuff outside of the season, everybody's trying to tell you what they would have done different, how they would have coached different,
yeah,
ways they would play different. You just gotta, for me, I just kind of eat it. I'm just like, yeah, man, you should have done that. You should have gone in that career instead of.
Oh, bro, that must be so annoying. That must be so incredibly annoying. I had the chance to be, and I'm almost positive you were playing that year when were you on the Patriots team when they beat the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, or was this the year?
No, it was a year or two before me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I somehow got a ticket to that game and was there, and it was so funny how many people were like, "We're Coach Carroll, shut up." I'm like, bro, for like just being in the arena during a Super Bowl, you've experienced it by being on the fucking field, man. Yeah. Like the energy inside of that arena, you cannot make that. You cannot recreate it. It is like the most absurd, intense feeling. Katy Perry's flying fucking 500 feet above on a giraffe, like an illuminated giraffe. You're like, how did you make that? How'd you get that on the field that fast? And for folks sitting at home and they're like they're lazy boys being like, yo, fucking Carol. I'm always so intrigued about how players are able to. Because in music, that's kind of my only pivot point. I don't have like, oh, bro, I really would have gone to that C major 7 before the old E minor there. If you would have if you would have just gone to the falsetto, like on the third verse, you really would have, that really would have got to the, it's like, that doesn't happen. People just don't listen to the song, Yeah. And I'm always, my hat is always tipped to people seemingly like you, Jacob. I've met a few other players throughout my time living in Washington and being an adult, that they're always just like so courteous and kind to those people who really just need to be like, dude, shut the fuck, But that's cool, man, that you're able to tune that out. I'd like to talk specifically about this season playing during COVID, because that's like a new set of parameters that I haven't learned anything about, and I am so curious. How was that? Can you just surmise it, or just flow, just go for it? Talk about playing during a pandemic.
Man, it was wild. I think going into it, we had no idea what to expect, because, we usually go back for OTAs during the spring, and they made the call, okay, we're not doing OTAs and we're going to do online, Zoom meetings like this. And so we did that all spring. And it was still kind of in between, are we going to have a season? Are there going to be fans there? And so we got the call, come in like normal camp. I didn't know what to expect. And I think going into it, I don't think it could have gone any better. At least I can only speak for Seattle, but I think just the way that everybody managed it was amazing. And not only like the organization, but just the players and everything. Cause I mean, we're getting tested every day. So you walk in, you go through the tent, you get tested. We'd wear these chips on our wrist that would tell you when you're within 6 feet of another player.
Whoa.
No way.
Yeah, so
It was like
it would
shock
blink.
you, like a shock collar.
Jules, we got to get you.
Yeah.
We got to get you a neck one when you're walking through the mall for them ladies, baby. Too many hotties getting close to you now that you dyed your hair.
Alerts.
Alerts. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that would alert us whenever we're within 6 feet of each other and blink, and we'd have this sound that would go off every, I think it was 15 minutes, because you couldn't be talking to somebody within 15 minutes or for more than 15 minutes, or you'd be considered a close contact. And so this sound would go off, like this alarm, and we'd all like have to just scatter. No, I'm kidding. But we'd
Hand grenade.
but that's what it sounded like this, this horn going off, and
Like
you
a
kinda
big
knew
loud
this,
horn? Like
not super loud, but yeah, like throughout the locker room it'd be this, kind of alarm, like your morning alarm type
Oh
stuff.
my God.
So they were, man, it was intense, but I think just the way that everybody handled it was great, and we all knew it was going to be a grind, not seeing anybody and no fans and all that, but I think it all ended up, finishing the season. I feel like everybody did a great job. It was great.
Yeah, man, I'm so glad that you guys were able to play the season. And this is kind of one thing that I'd like to, whenever I get the opportunity to speak to anybody who sacrifices their physicality for my entertainment, I want to say thank you, Jacob Hollister, because the Seahawks and the National Football League bring so much joy to so many people, and they allow such an escape. When I know there's going to be a Seahawks game that like I can catch and I can sit down with my kid and I got some nice brisket nachos just sizzling on the old Treggy, man, the world, you could piss in my mouth and I wouldn't care, dude, because I'm so stoked.
Yeah.
And you're literally sacrificing like your health, man. Like you guys who are on that field deserve so much more praise than I think you get on SportsCenter, man. We just talk about like the points and the numbers and it's like
Statistics.
I want a SportsCenter of just people being like, bro, praise God for Kawhi Leonard because that was so much fun to see him make which I think they do, but I'd like to personally say thank you to Jacob and everybody on your
Seconded,
squad, man. Thanks for pulling it off and for giving us a season, because it was still so much fun to watch at home. What's the difference between playing at the Super Bowl and playing at CenturyLink Field? I guess it's called something else now. What's it called? T-Mobile or what's it?
Lumen.
Lumen.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Lumen Field now.
Yeah.
What's the difference between playing at an empty Lumen Field, 75,000 seats that are empty, and playing at a Super Bowl? Like, how do you rev up to do that? Are you doing like whippets in the locker room before you go on, or like what's?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's
Who told you?
That's the move.
it's JP.
I told him that.
Yeah.
I played Pee Wee.
Yeah. Oh, it's and unfortunately I didn't get to play in the Super Bowl when we won it, but because I had a torn hamstring. But even being there and even playing this year without any fans, it was wild. I think I also realized though how much I kind of tone out the fans until you score. Like until somebody scores.
Right.
Like when somebody scored for the first time, I can't remember who it was in a game this year, and you're just like, you're running up to them and you're kind of realizing all the weird sounds you make, like when you're so excited because there's no noise. And like even when you watch it on TV, like they put artificial noise on there, so it sounds like everybody's celebrating, but
that's
really
not coming through the stadium.
No. So you hear everybody like kind of gasping, getting over there. It's just kind of weird.
But so strange.
It was different, man. But one of those things you just got used to it, and if anything, it benefited us because we're such a like high energy team.
Right.
That those teams who didn't really have much energy and kind of counted on their fans for energy, I feel like it hurt them at the end of the day.
I thought the Seahawks kind of did rely on their fans. It was like this 12th man thing where it's just like they're the loudest fan. I don't know if that's still the case or not, but like, don't you guys feel that way still there?
Oh yeah, no question. I mean, That's one thing we definitely missed at home this year, because that would help our defense a ton. Because I mean, their offense couldn't hear a single word, and you don't even realize how many checks these quarterbacks are trying to do at the line, and when receivers and tight ends, O linemen can't hear those checks, it makes things so much harder. So that's why playoffs at home are usually such a huge advantage, because you have a huge turnout by your fans and they're just going crazy. But obviously, that wasn't the case this year. We couldn't have them there. But
When you say checks, do you mean because I never played football, Jacob? I love just sports in general and people who can play sports, but I don't know the lingo. When you say checks, that means just like reversing the play, right? Or like changing the play like before the snap at the line?
Yeah. So there's so many checks that go into a game, based on looks that they're giving you. And so like an alert would be, you could switch the way that we're running the play from one way to the other. And then there's checks at the line that the quarterback can make, which, Russ usually does a lot of, just based on what they're doing with, 2 high safety, 1 high safety, what they're doing on defense, how many in the box, and switching the play completely. And so to be able to hear that is a huge advantage on offense. And when you can't hear any of that and you're trying to signal everything, it's just, it makes it that much harder.
Yeah, wow. Is that like when a quarterback will like kick one leg back or the other leg back at the line? Is that them doing the checks thing? They're like changing
That's
the
a motion usually.
Oh, okay. What's
that's
a motion?
Audible?
When you see
We don't fucking know.
Say words.
Yeah.
just words, football, Google. Yeah, it's
Chin strap.
It's usually that's like when you see somebody running across the formation, pre-snap. Yeah. So that's like a motion. So when you see a quarterback doing that, that's just telling him to start his motion.
Gotcha. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow, man.
How much of a like a leader is Russell Wilson in the locker room and in that place and like what is it to go from probably your whole life? And this is not to say that you lack in leadership either, because I imagine every single professional athlete needs to possess a leadership skill, but but when there is a kind of designated leader for the team, such as the quarterback, does that really affect you guys? Is that like super cool in the locker room when you guys are in there with him, and does he kind of translate his word to you guys in a really powerful way and kind of help you guys in an awesome way? And what does it feel like to kind of like to pull back, to like resist your own leadership mentality if you do?
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah. It's, first of all, Russ does an incredible job. Like he really doesn't get enough credit. He gets a lot of credit. He's an amazing player, an MVP candidate type guy, Hall of Famer one day. Like he's an amazing player, but I don't think he gets enough credit for the leader that he is, because the way that he leads is, it's just in a way of its own, and it's really, it's genuine. And he spends so many hours that nobody sees too preparing. He prepares this packet for us, like this packet before every week. It has all this information. And we have this, this meeting that's just players, and he's giving us breakdowns of everybody, and we're doing it on Zoom for an hour. And it's usually an off day for guys, but he's spending, hours on a Monday night doing this work and making sure that we all have the information that we need. And usually, a guy would pass that off to a younger player and be like, hey, get all this done for me, make sure it's this and that. But he's so, detail oriented that he wants to make sure everything's perfect. And so, he's a big motivation, for the team when it comes to winning. And he just does a great job, just make sure that everybody's on the same page. Wow. And then it's like you were saying with pulling back, I feel like, it was a weird transition for me originally going from quarterback to tight end, because you're so used to, being more of a vocal guy and all that. But I feel like naturally for me, I've always been more of a lead by example type guy. And so it kind of, if anything, it was more of a comfortable role for me where it's like, okay, I can be the guy who's on time, doing the right thing, making sure I'm getting my lifts, encouraging guys in the locker room, spending time with them, and not so much worry about that, being that vocal guy when you have guys like Russ and KJ and Bobby and all these other guys. And so they just make it easy. Yeah.
Was it a similar ease in the Patriots with Tom Brady and like because that you've worked with two of the most iconic quarterback of our age, of our generation, maybe. I don't know. I don't know shit about
Audible?
what I'm talking about. Audible. I don't actually know what I'm talking about, but like I do know that Tom Brady and Russell Wilson are two of like the most like revered quarterbacks amongst others, but like and those are the people that you've had shared your experience with as a professional football player. So like that must be insane, man. Like you stepped into the NFL and went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's so crazy, man.
It's wild. And it's like you said, it takes that stepping back because, the first 2 years I'm in the league, I go to the Super Bowl. The first year we lost, and then the second year we won. And a lot of guys go their whole career without even making the playoffs. And you're like, I've been so blessed, and like you said, to have a lot of guys also go their whole career, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs who don't have a quarterback like Tom or Russ, a franchise guy, top elite quarterbacks. And a lot of people don't realize what a difference that makes, not only as a player, but just to have a leader like that, just for the whole team. So, yeah, man, when I first got to New England, I was kind of like a chicken with my head cut off, running around. I didn't know what was going on, trying to figure it all out. But going into that second year, and you just learn more and more, and that was awesome getting to spend time with Tom. I learned a ton from him, just as a player.
What was it like playing next to Gronkowski? Because obviously Gronkowski's a tight end. Were you able to learn quite a bit from him? Was he a good teacher in that, or is he just a party animal?
No.
Just go for it, bro.
Yeah. What I love, just go for it. All right, thanks, Gronk.
Gronk kind of seems like the guy at the snowboard hill is just like, fucking rip it, bro.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, that's some of what I learned from Gronk. Is like, he's the type of dude who, when it's time to go, like he's hard working and doing his thing, and then when it's time to just have fun, he's having fun. So he
cool.
definitely knows how to like separate the two, which is awesome. And I also just learned to have fun with it. Like New England's a very intense place to play, and I loved it. But you got to learn, no matter where you're at, to just have fun. And we're still playing football. Like we're still playing this game that we've been playing since we were 6 years old. So just have fun with it and have a good time and be out there with the guys.
God, that's such a cool perspective to hear from like the top elite, like players in the world. I mean, that's like you are one of a very, very select few human beings who can do something at an incredible level. And to still hear the highest level, there doesn't get any higher of athletic performance than the National Football League. And to hear like the discussion is, hey man, remember to have fun. Remember we're playing a game. Like, I think it's such a good reminder for everything you're doing, except math, dude. Fuck math. Like, you ain't never having fun, dude. No, I'm just kidding with all you mathematicians out there.
Right.
So you're transitioning now. I might be getting this wrong, but a rookie career is 4 years. Am I correct? And you're in your fifth, or this will be your fifth?
Yeah, so I'm going into my fifth. And so me being undrafted, I had a 3-year with a 4-year option. Okay. So the Seahawks picked up my 4th year last year with a tender, which is just like another word for a contract. Okay. And now I'm an unrestricted free agent. So I'm still a Seahawk right now until March, I think 17th is when free agency opens.
Okay.
And so that's when all the, negotiations and all that, you figure all that out.
And how does that feel for you right now? Like, that must be stressful to some capacity, right?
Yeah, I think I feel really good about it. Just, you learn to be so comfortable being uncomfortable. Yeah. And so I feel like that's where I'm at right now, where I'm just wide open I'd love to go back to Seattle. I'm open to other opportunities. Just, I know that whatever I'm supposed to be doing is what I'll be doing at the end of the day. And so, I feel really at peace with it, honestly. I feel like it's going to work out great. So
that's awesome, man. I'm pulling for you to be back in Seattle, dude. I really enjoyed watching you play. I want to talk about our boy band that we're going to start after you sign your first year free agent contract, and we buy a tour bus together and we live it up with Gronk.
Yeah.
How did you get, like, you can sing your ass off, man. Like, both you and your brother are great musicians.
Oh, dude, I appreciate it.
Did you, where did that come from? Where did that bud? Like, I want to tell the folks at home, the reason why Jacob and I know each other is I forget how we were connected, but the Seahawks were doing some sort of campaign and they paired us up to do a song together. And I mean, I jumped at the opportunity. I'm like, anytime some like elite human being is going to like just pay any attention to me, I'll hang out for a second. But I was not at all ready for how good you are as a singer. Like, what's going on there? How did you learn to sing? How did you get into it? What's the scoop?
Man, that means a lot coming from you, bro. But yeah, it was my dad played growing up, and so I think that's where it originally rooted from. You know, for me and my brothers, my dad would play to us, you know, at night, almost every night. And I remember me thinking, okay, I want to learn this for my kids one day. And it kind of it grew from there. And really my brother's the one who picked it up, started playing like 6 years ago now. And he's the one that's really pushed me to sing a lot more, to play more, to write songs. And so that's when I started really playing and writing, was about 3 years ago now. And man, it's just such a release, honestly, especially during this COVID time too. It's going home and playing guitar and writing songs is just a way of letting loose and just kind of getting lost for a little bit. And it's been really therapeutic, honestly. It's been awesome.
That's so great, man.
So it's so cool to have it kind of especially when you're really good at it like you are, because I've heard myself, and I listened a little bit to your brother as well on his Instagram last night. You guys are amazing, awesome. Man. It's super good. And it seems, as opposed to Alan, who plays music as a career, you know, you don't have to do that with your music. You can let it be just your complete hobby, and you can just have the most fun with it as you want. But there is this other kind of interesting concept surrounding athleticism and creativity, in that, and Alan and I have talked about this quite a bit, where it's not artistry isn't a meritocracy, right? So like football and athleticism is, you have to be the best that you could possibly be to play in the NFL. You can't like be less than or anything. You have to be the greatest. In music and in acting, entertainment, you don't actually have to be necessarily the best at it. You just kind of have to pivot and go around that thing. And you've seemingly managed to create a really good work-life balance out of being at the top tier of this meritocracy, being the greatest, pushing your body to the limits, and then also trying to navigate a life in like with balance in music and in that world. Like, how do you find the time, and how do you manage being just grounded with yourself when it seems like to be a football player you have to just commit 24/7, 365 days a year?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it goes back to what I was talking about earlier a little bit with, you know, I know what my mind needs now to perform at my best. And so I know that if I go to work, you know, for whatever it is, 12 hours a day, and then I go home and study for 2 hours, and then I work on my body for a little bit, like I know that I need at least an hour to talk to my family and like make calls and FaceTime people, talk to my brother. And then I know that I need an hour at least of playing music and writing and just relaxing, because that's what, like you said, just grounds me. And so I feel like just everybody learning, you know, what they need to be the best version of themselves, as cheesy as that sounds.
Oh man, it's real.
It's like just learning what you need to be that guy, and then committing to it. And then it's almost like a formula where I've been kind of adjusting it this last 4 years. And now I feel like I really know what I need. I know how much social time I need with being around people, especially after this COVID deal. But, yeah, man, that's been the biggest part for me. Just, you know, finding ways just to be grounded. And that's what music's been for me. It's just so therapeutic, and I just enjoy it so much. I can't get enough of it when it comes to just writing and spending time. Will
you try to pursue it in any type of professional capacity, or is that just out of question, out of mind for you?
I think you know, being involved in music is something that I'd love to do. whether it's while I'm still playing football or after football. But yeah, I think, it's one of those things. I learned at an early age that I was really passionate about football, and here I am, and I want to be the best in my craft that I can possibly be. And, I'm finding more and more this past, 5-6 years, while I'm really passionate about music too. I love music. And so I want to make sure that me and my brother, push ourselves as far as we can with that talent that we've been given, and make sure that we're maximizing that too. And so how that balances with football, I'm not sure, but it's definitely something me and my brother want to be involved in for sure.
Yeah.
Jacob, you and your brother are what Julian and I refer to as handsome AF. AF stands for as fuck.
Damn it, dude! You're making us feel insecure.
You've just dialogued about how focused the game is at like being a professional athlete. You have a rigorous schedule during the season, let alone like even off season, and the temptations of being a professional football player, being handsome, are you single, Jacob?
I am, yeah.
Being single, being
God bless
from
you,
the
man.
perspective of everybody else in America, rich, like how do you maintain that focus? How do you keep like the things out of your landscape? Girls, the trappings of money, the trappings of like going out and being the life of the party. And I had a close friend of mine. I'm not sure if she was working at the Seahawks while you were there. Her name's Kelly Creedon. Shout out to Kelly. But she would tell me, yeah, man, I mean, the difference between basketball and football is that football players are wearing their helmet the entire time. And so nobody recognizes them out in public. And so at times they feel like they need to go out to the club and flex and be like, hey, I'm on the team, right? That, as somebody who's fallen into that trap of like, oh, I got and my attention is like a little bit of attention, dude. Like I did Conan one time and I was like, yo, what's up with my DMs?
You're a baller, man.
How do you maintain that focus, Jacob? I'm really curious about what that must be like in the athletic world, because it just must be coming your way constantly, like distraction.
Yeah. I think, that's the best word for it, is distraction. And I'll be honest, when I first came in, rookie year, I'm not even making that much money, and I'm undrafted, but you're so overstimulated by everything. I mean, the second that people find out you're on the team, you're getting all these follows and people hitting you up and, assuming that you're a millionaire your first year and messaging you and all that. And I think that it took time for me, a couple years at least to really deal with that and realize, at the end of the day, I think that the more that you indulge in some of that stuff, you just realize how empty it is. And, I think over the years I've tightened my circle more and more, where it's like, okay, I know that these people are going to be here for me till the end. And these people aren't just cheerleaders for me. Like, these people really care about me. And they're going to tell me when I'm wrong and when I need to get checked. People like my sisters and my brother, my parents. So I've tried to spend more time getting closer to them. And as I do that, I feel like it kind of puts those distractions at ease out of my mind a little bit. But they always get in there, man. Like, trust me, especially when that off season hits, like that couple of days, you're like, okay, how can I maximize this next couple weeks? And just like, you're like a kid who's not allowed to have candy, and now you can have and do whatever you want because COVID. You're not in this bubble anymore. You can go do whatever. So
how long is that going to last for you from now till then, till you have to start like getting focused again?
I mean, I think it's like I was saying earlier. It's hard to force yourself to relax. So like right now, I just got a little lift in and stuff like that, but I'm trying to relax as much as I can. And I'll take another like week and a half before I start training again, lightly, getting back into it and all that. But, intense training starts really like a month and a half, 2 months before OTA starts. And so, I'll have a little bit of time and spending with my family. We're going to go on a little vacation. It'll be a good time.
But you're not going. I mean, you can't really go out to the bars and to the clubs, anyways. So it's not. It's
Yeah.
kind of maybe in your favor. That
You go
you're
to
in-
Texas, man. You go to Texas, they're
Yeah.
wide open, bro.
Yeah.
Nashville's pretty open too, from
Yeah.
what I've heard.
Yeah, I've been hearing that as well. Is that Nashville's just like, oh, go for it. Um,
Yeah.
That
so
discipline.
you grew up in Bend, right, Jacob?
I did. Yeah, I grew up here.
Yeah, is your folks and your sisters still around that area, or are they somewhere else?
Yeah. So two of my sisters are here. One of my sisters over in Redding, California, going to school there, and then my mom's in Sacramento. My stepdad's here, and my dad's here in town too. So we're kind of all split up,
Okay.
but yeah, this is kind of like home base for everybody.
That's great, man. What a beautiful part of the country, man.
Yeah.
Bend is
Oh,
sick.
yeah.
Super nice.
It's gorgeous.
I've
I'm
always.
looking for some land right now.
Oh yeah, cool.
Out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to build a little barn home, like kind of a modern barn home out here. It'd be pretty sweet.
Cool, man.
Oh, that's so cool, man. I snowboard quite a bit, or I at least used to snowboard quite a bit.
Yeah.
And Bend has got so many mountains just like within,
Oh, yeah.
a spit away that, man, we should just go to Bend and camp out.
Have you been to Bachelor?
I've never been to Bachelor,
I've
no.
been to Bachelor.
Oh,
It's super nice.
You
yeah.
gotta go. Yeah,
So
it's
nice.
awesome.
Can you even ride? Can you even even if you wanted to, or are you like contractually obligated
yeah.
to just like not do stuff when you're on the off season?
Yeah,
that
I
could
mean,
hurt
stuff
you?
like I love snowboarding. Like I snowboarded. Me and my brother would get on the bus every day during the winter when we were kids.
Mm.
But yeah, I haven't snowboarded in a long time. But I mean, we'll get on the slopes and just like take it easy and just cruise. But none of that sending it like you were talking about with Gronk. You can't be doing
Send
that.
it. No, you can't get on the mechanical bull when you move over to Nashville. Or like, somebody tweeted about you getting over.
Yeah, it's hard to turn that down, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
when you get when you get out of a season, assuming you've been playing football your entire life and sports in general. When you get away from a season, is it just relieving to be able to be like, I don't want to do any, like, do you get sick of football ever? Do you get like tired of the sport because you've been so consumed by it, or do you just love it so much that you just can't wait to get back to it every single moment?
I think I'd be lying if I said I just love it every moment. I just can't wait to go to work and
It's a
all
job.
that. I feel like I feel like there's points in the season, for example, late in the season, weeks 14 through 17, where I try to remember what it felt like the year before. And for example, like this last playoff game we had, and you just remember how many hours and how much work you've put into it. And you're like, okay, I just got to push and put everything that I have into it. Like I shut everything down that week. And really the few weeks leading up to it, I just like social media, I'm trying to not be on. I'm trying, telling my friends I'm not going to talk to them much and stuff like that. Cause you realize how many hours that everybody put in to get there. And I think that's part of what motivates me is knowing I don't want to let these guys down.
Ah, cool.
Like we've been spending this and doing this together, shedding, blood, sweat, and tears for however many months. And so that's part of what motivates me to keep going. And I feel like it's just a total team thing, but
wow,
there's
man.
definitely those days, man. You just got to keep pushing.
I bet.
That's so cool. I'm curious. This is a kind of a side trail, but you're surrounded by like the most elite athletes, elite human beings of all time. And I recently watched the Bo Jackson 30 for 30. I'm not sure if you've caught that, but apparently Bo Jackson just could do things that were like superhuman. Who is the most like superhuman athlete you've ever been surrounded by? Like if there's a guy that you could point to throughout your career as a football player and be like, dude, bro, this guy could literally lift a Volkswagen and like spin it on his finger like a Harlem Globetrotter. Can you think of anybody like that?
It's crazy because there's so many different guys I think of right away that are just in different ways. I mean, like, for example, DK is one of those guys where it's just such a gifted athlete, specimen of a human who's just an absolute beast.
Yeah.
And also works his ass off to be that good,
right?
To be, the player that he is. And so, that's one of those special guys that, seeing him transition from year one to year two, and you're like, he worked hard with the talents that he's already given, and he's obviously killing it and had a Pro Bowl year and all that. But yeah, man, then there's those guys like Dwayne Brown, our own lineman, who's just a freak, strong dude, just the last dude you'd ever want to fight or make mad and all that. But yeah, there's a lot of guys like that, man. Like Gronk's another one where you're just like, how is this dude running down the field and just one hand catching a ball in the rain, like behind his head and all that. But
yeah,
lucky to be around a lot of those guys.
I somehow just like have a thing for like Seattle Seahawks tight ends, because prior, when Jimmy Graham was playing for the Seahawks, me and Jimmy were buddies and had gone to dinner a few times, and he would always tell me that, you know, he's a big guy. He's tall. How tall are you, Jacob? You're like 6'4"?
I'm 6'4", yep.
6'4". He's like 6'9". And he said the only way people can take me down is just run straight at my knees. They just jump at my knees. And so after the game, like, his legs are just brutalized. What does it feel like coming off the field for you? And how do you, like, how do you get better? Like, what are you ice tubbing it? Are you like, your body must be so sore after a game.
Oh yeah. I think obviously every game's different, but when you're taking, 8 to 10 hits, like when you're getting tackled and stuff like that, it's like you said, a lot of those guys are freaks. And so best way I can compare it is like waking up and you're rolling over and you just feel like you got into a mini car wreck. Like you're just, you're slowly stretching your body out and kind of like, and you just know, okay, it's time to like start churning the wheels and getting ready for next week, go hit the tubs and just get it going. But that's also the stuff that you miss too when you're not playing, or like when you don't have a game that you're involved a lot. You're like, man, I kind of miss being in the fight.
Interesting.
Being sore.
What is your for recovery? So, I don't do any like physical altercations whatsoever in my life. Never been in a fight. Never taken I took a football in the dome one time, I think, at recess.
That counts.
But when I'm touring, I'm like, prior to COVID, we were rocking 200 shows a year. And that's day in, day out. That's traveling. That's sleeping in an RV. And so there's like some physicality to standing up and shouting through a microphone for 2 hours a night. And there was a little bit of regiment that I would find for my voice, like breathing. I would do like hot, cold, hot shower into like a cold shower, just little things for my body to get warmed up. What is your routine? And like, what things do you like, bro? This works like a charm. This is crazy.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me, it's like you were saying, I like doing contrast baths. And so I'll do every day. I do a contrast bath with, you're going from cold to hot, back and forth for minutes at a time. And that's been really helpful for me. My second year, I had a lot of muscle injuries. And so I was trying to figure out, how can I stop this from happening and make sure I'm at my best. And that was a big part for me, was make sure I was doing that every day. And then doing, have you guys heard of like the recovery boots, like Normatec and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's these big long boots that come up to your crotch, kind of.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I use those. It's called a recovery pump. I use their boots that pull all the way up. So every night before I go to bed, just pull those up, read a little bit, and let them do their thing.
Can you get those on Amazon, or is that like
Bro, sponsorships, baby?
Yeah, they helped me out getting some, and I actually like their stuff a little bit better than Normatec, but both are great stuff.
Wow, man, I just, that kind of blows my mind. Jimmy, when we were hanging out more frequently when he was living in Seattle, he blew, I'm gonna forget what it was in his knee, but it was like a career-ending injury.
Like ACL?
It wasn't it was the no. I'm going to get it wrong, so I won't even try. Yeah. I'll just be like stringing different letters together. It's like, it's TBS. I'm pretty sure it was his NBC, really. But we had a dinner together on Christmas Eve, and he had blown in a game that knee the week prior, and he came to dinner like all crutched up. And I remember, like, it had never occurred to me how, like, he's a 6'9" man who, like, just burly AF. You'd like, nothing's gonna touch this guy, right? And in that moment, there was in our discussion about the injury and about his recovery, of like vulnerability with him about his body, right? Because you are only as good as your ligaments and your muscles, and specifically in an elite sport like the NFL. How much do you think about that when you're on the field? Are you just like going for it, or are you going like, hey, you know, like I gotta, like, because at some point the perspective of this is a business must enter your mind. I want this to last as long as possible, so I'm not going to be throwing, you know, haymakers on the field. How do you play that at all, or does that enter your scope?
Yeah, I think the best way I like to think of it is I like to prepare my body the best I can throughout the week so that when I do get to the game, I'm just not even thinking about it. And so, you know, pushing yourself, especially in the off season, like right now, to a point where you feel so good about where you're at that you can just let it loose and not even hold back at all. And obviously you deal with little injuries and you have to listen to your body throughout the year. But, yeah, when it comes to game time, I'm letting it loose. And that's what, my coaches have gotten on me a little bit at times, like for, you know, putting your head down and trying to get those extra yards and stuff like that. But I just can't, you know,
in the moment.
Sometimes you're in the moment.
Yeah.
And
I would be awful.
I just got to go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you make the transfer from quarterback to tight end? Was that in the professionals? Was that in college?
So that was in junior college when I was doing the Little Caesars. I think that might have been why. Maybe that was the turning point.
You were gaining a couple LBs, and you were just like,
yeah,
all right, bro,
like,
I got to go step on the line.
yeah. Maybe that was it, man. I didn't think about that.
Well,
and was that your decision, or was that a coach's decision? How did that come?
It was a coach's decision. He basically told me, I think that you'd be recruited best as a tight end, and so because at junior college you're getting re-recruited by other, you know, 4-year universities, and so he said, I think that you'd be the best at you know, getting recruited as a tight end just based on your skill set and your body and everything like that. And so I called my dad and I was like, Dad, I thought he was going to be pissed. I'm like, Dad, he wants me to switch to tight end. And my dad told me, I always knew you were going to switch to tight end at some point.
Wow.
And so at that point I felt really good about it and made the switch and just learned from my brother how to run routes and just went for it.
How much of a sportsman was your father? Did he play quite a bit of football growing up?
Yeah, he was a big time athlete. He played baseball at Portland State. And he's the one that's just spent hours and hours and hours with me and my brother. It was never, there was times when he had to really push us, but it was always one of those deals where he told us, you know, I'll be here for you if you make the choice and I'll help you take it however far you want to go, but I'm not going to force you to do anything. And so I feel like that helped me and my brother decide, like, we'd tell my dad, we want to be professional football players and we want you to help us get there. And he took that, you know, to heart and helped us.
We haven't acknowledged that your brother is your twin brother, right?
Yeah.
And
twin, yeah.
So like without him in your narrative, you obviously it's all speculation because you couldn't make any sense out of it. But like, how much of like the accountability between you two kind of crafted your careers as NFL players? Because if again, you don't know how to say anything else because it was your experience.
Yeah.
But I imagine, God, man, you guys must have fucking just had each other's back so hard.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's one of those things I can't even put into words, where there's just no question in my mind that God gave me a brother for a reason, especially Cody specifically, because there's so many times that we've had to lean on each other and encourage each other and just make sure that we're there for each other, pushing. Yeah, I couldn't have imagined even getting close to where I'm at right now without my brother. Like, no doubt about that. So he's been a rock in my life. I've been a rock for him at times, and it's just been a crazy journey.
Wow. I mean, obviously you'd love to play together, but does it suck to have to be apart, or is it just like awesome you guys knew that once you guys went to the pros, if you were going to do that you were going to have to kind of go off in different.
Yeah. What was that like? Cause that probably didn't happen until the pros. You played on the same team with your brother in college and high school, right?
Yeah. So we split up after junior college.
Okay.
So he went to Arkansas, I went to Wyoming, and that was needed for sure, because, you know, before that, we're kind of like a unit. Like, you know, we had never been apart from each other for more than a day or two. And so, you know, we needed that to kind of become our own men. And then, you know, we got to come back together and played it with the Patriots together for 2 years and lived together there. And that was incredible. Obviously got the ring together. Wow. And then, same thing. Like we felt great about it just being time. I mean, I didn't have a choice at first. I got traded to Seattle, but it just ended up being a great situation. And for him to be in Nashville with the Titans has just been awesome. So
I feel like a team. I feel like a team would want you guys both as like a package deal, just to like put your face on the billboards and be like, look at these hot ass mother effers.
It's good marketing.
Yeah,
good
totally.
marketing.
Like people are gonna come to the games to watch the twinsies. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
When
the twinsies.
does it happen where the you guys play versus each other in a season? Have you do the Hawks play the Titans? I'm sure they do.
I wish. So they play them next year. So we'll see, if I end up with the Hawks or not. But that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I've always wanted that to happen where you play your brother, because, you get to do the jersey exchange and stuff like that. I'd love to see my brother on the field. And I'd definitely walk up to my coach and, whether it was because he plays offense too, I'd have to tell him, get me matched up on him on special teams or something. Let us just go at it for a couple plays. It'd be fun.
Who in that household, in that scenario, which jersey does the household wear? Are we okay? You flip a coin and you're like, okay, well, I guess we got to go for the Panthers today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's a tough one because they'll go back and forth. I think it depends on who they like more that week. It kind of goes back and forth.
Yes.
But,
And
It's like who took out the garbage enough is.
yeah.
I'm
for
sure you guys have been faced with that competition element before, where you've been playing against each other, but like you obviously, like the love you have for each other as well as the competitive nature that you possess both play huge factors. So if you're playing against each other, do you have to remove something from yourself to kind of like play and like be totally conscious of like, I'm trying to win. I don't give any cares about the fact that you're my blood. Like this is life for me and I have to do this job. Like, can you separate that thing, or are you just gonna be like, bro, what's up, man? How you doing?
Selfie.
I mean, it's obvious that you would, but like, I just feel like it must be such a fascinating kind of dynamic to have to experience when you're actually playing against each other like that.
Yeah. No, I think that you can compare it to when you know a guy really well in general in the league, because you want that guy to get his best still. Like whether you love the guy and you're really good friends or whatever, like I compare it to Matthew Slater. I played against him. We played together with the Patriots while I was there, and he's a Hall of Fame type special teams player. And I was blocking him on KOR this year, and it was just so much fun because we're both giving everything that we have, and we're battling, and just he's like ramming his head into me, like giving me something after the play, and I'm just smiling because I know that he's giving everything he has, I'm giving everything I have, and at the end of the day, like we're dapping up and we're hugging and saying I love you. But while you're in it, like it's every man giving everything he has, and I feel like me and my brother would want that from each other. Like you just give everything you have, like we're gonna compete and then we're gonna hug after and
that's so
hopefully
that's
still be brothers.
Sportsmanship, man. That's awesome.
When does that? I played sports in high school and growing up, Jacob, and I definitely miss playing sports, but I think what I miss the most is an outlet towards being competitive that's healthy. Because what I notice is in music, I bring a competitive spirit to art, and competition in art is the most ridiculous thing ever. It doesn't do anything positive for the cultivation or the assimilation of art for people. But yet I bring it in. I'm like, yo, dude, like, why is his name bigger on the festival flyer than my? What? He's weak, man. It's sauce. He doesn't do any major stuff. He doesn't know the lineage of blues, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm bringing it in, and I wish that I had that thing, that something to like put some positive competition, right? Because in sports and in a meritocracy, you can leave it on the field. You can, like, even though you bring it home, you're like, I can't believe we lost. This sucks. It definitely stings for a while afterwards. Competing against somebody is like something that I think innately we need as human beings, but we don't have like really that many good outlets for it, except like fucking Call of Duty online or something. I'm just there's no question in there. I just wanted to voice that like, man, I wish we got to start a ping pong league or something, dude.
No, as you were saying that, it's interesting because that's something that was kind of on my heart this past couple of years, is like, when I get a little bit older and having like a men's camp, like, because everybody in general, men and women, but I feel like every man, every person like always has that desire to compete and just like come home tired and just feel like they gave everything that they have. And I feel like men miss that so much when they stop playing sports. Yeah. Like, and that's why they love watching sports. Like, oh, this is my team. Like these are my guys.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody wants to be a part of something like that. And I just feel like it'd be so cool to have, something that implements stuff from Navy SEALs, stuff from sports teams that guys can get together and be a part of something together.
Yeah.
And just like push yourself as far as you can mentally and physically,
bro.
For like a couple weeks or something.
Jacob, we can do it up here, man. We're in this 100-year-old lodge out in eastern Washington State. There's 52 acres here. There's a play field out. It's not the size of a football field, but there's plenty of space.
Pretty close.
We can do your summer camp out here for men. I love that. I think that's brilliant. I was thinking about it the other day that like, I have a young son. He's almost 2, and when we were at a dinner party, I think at my sister's, and me and Julian are sitting there, and like my son and my 2 nephews, they're like running around. They're trying to pull us. They're like, let's go play. I want to play monkeys, dude. Let's play monkeys. And I'm like, I'm part of me is like, I want to be the dad who's just like always down. Like, yep, playing monkeys, done with this adult shit, going.
Yeah.
But then there's also the pull of me that's like, no, I want to sit down and just relax. I've been working all day. I want to sit down and relax. And me and Jules were dialoguing about like, when do we lose that capacity to want to play? Like, when does that go from like, just like, yo, I remember being a kid, like, I'm going to jump over the lava for 100 hours. I was jumping over lava.
You bought in that it was lava.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
It is lava.
I wish we could. I think to speak on that sentiment of like, I wish that we had I wish there was more. I'm sure we could find the outlets because I'm sure they're there. But like, just giving the permission to go play, to like be men, compete, throw it all in the ring, and then when you're done, you're dapping up and you're going to need some turkey gravies.
No question, dude. Yeah, I'm with you.
Ah, man.
So how do you see the trajectory? Do you probably at this point don't think much of like your life after football? Has that entered your scope at all? You talked a little bit about music. You talked some about like a men's camp. Did you finish your college career? Or did you go into the pros early?
Yeah, I finished my degree as I was in my rookie year with the Patriots. So
Okay.
I finished my degree in business when I was there.
I never understand how athletes
Yeah.
manage to do anything other than just play the sport that they're in. Then they're like, yeah, I got my degree.
Yeah.
I studied.
Whether I took the class myself or not, I'll let you decide
cool.
on that. It was online. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
good on you, man.
You passed. You got a
made it
college
happen.
degree. Nobody upstairs in this attic, and there's 3 of us, have a college degree. So,
Whoops.
hats off to you. Anything you want to do? Any like passion you have post this professional career in footballs?
And there's a lot of things that I'm passionate about. I feel like it's one of those things that it's been so obvious, what I should be doing at the time. Obviously, right now it's football, and I'm just such a plan A type guy where it's like I'm going to put everything I have into this and then the next thing. But I'm really passionate about, like I said, music. I love fitness. What I love about fitness is pushing people beyond what they thought they could do, just mentally, just seeing people have breakthroughs mentally with that. And so I definitely want to be involved, whether it's owning a fitness facility, a training facility for athletes, or just the general public, whatever it is, and being involved in that world too. So we'll see what happens, but definitely passionate about a lot of things.
Awesome, man.
Can Alan and I have a membership to your fitness
Yeah.
training
Oh,
center?
of course, man.
Can you help
Of
us
course.
Can you help us get 2 packs?
What's up? You got a steam? You got a steam room?
A steam room. You guys will run the steam room for me for sure. Audible.
Yeah,
Audible.
seriously. Audible.
Mid workout, we're just throwing motions to the steam room.
Seriously.
Jules, cross my back, bro.
Got you.
That's straight for the steamer. Dude, Jacob, thank you so much for like lending your time, man, and your presence and joining us and chatting with us, dude. You've been a legend to get to know. I've like texted you a few times after games and felt so special that I had your number and I could text you after a win and congratulate you, man. Thanks for joining us today, dude. I
Yeah,
hope you've
man.
had fun.
Yeah, bro.
It's really nice to
man, I
meet you too,
appreciate
Jacob.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool,
Appreciate
man.
you guys, man. You guys are awesome.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Let's do this again soon, yeah?
No question. Yeah, man. I loved it.
All right. Peace, man. Take care.
Thanks
Thank you
for
again,
being
Yeah,
Jacob.
appreciate you guys.
Take care, man.
Bless you, brother. Oh, boo-boo, did you just make it to the end of the video? Yes, you did. Do you want to see more videos just like this one? Do you?
Well, then head over to patreon.com/live at the lodge, where you can support the How Goods of this podcast, as well as the entire Live at the Lodge family.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to get exclusive merch, personalized shout-out videos. Me and Jules, we're going to show up at your house and baptize your nephew, huh? Check it out, patreon.com/live at the lodge.